Hey there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Adam and today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider liking, subscribing, and maybe hitting that notification bell too. Let's get started with today's first story. Much love, everyone. Today's first story comes from my sister has 12 bridesmaids, but I'm not one of them. My 19 female sister 28 is getting married in a few weeks. She has 12 bridesmaids and I'm not one of them. Our two other sisters are bridesmaids and our older brother is a groomsman. I'm the only sibling who's not in the wedding party, and it always rubbed me the wrong way. I respected her decision since it's her wedding, but still, it hurt me very much because I felt like the outsider sibling throughout my entire life. She didn't even want me involved in any wedding planning activities unless it was some last-minute errand I'd have to do because she was too bored to do it herself. Of course, my mom and dad were upset by my sister's decision, but they couldn't say much or else my sister would be mad at them as well. My mom tried to find out the reason why. She'd still respect her choice, but it was still a weird choice to include everyone but me. It turns out all of my sisters, not my brother, despise me low-key because I gave my mother a lot of life-threatening diseases during her pregnancy with me, and they blame me for the health issues our mom is going through right now. My sisters always try to accept me, but they could never love me as I'm their constant reminder of why our mom is sick. My brother doesn't share those opinions and he says it's just an unfortunate situation. My sister who's getting married says that she wants the most important people at her wedding party and she doesn't consider me one of them for that exact reason, and that's why I'm not a bridesmaid. After that, I decided to remove myself altogether from the situation and skip the wedding. But now my sisters are all mad because this will raise questions among the guests about why I'm not there and that I'm selfish for putting myself first instead of trying to suck it up for just one day so people won't start asking things. Am I the idiot? Well, the crap, is this real? What is wrong with your siblings and what is wrong with her parents for going along with this? Nope, you are congratulated for successfully escaping the sad destiny of stupidity to which your sisters have succumbed. You are most definitely not the idiot. How immature do you have to be to low-key despise your sibling for simply being born? OP, you are in no way the idiot here. Your whole family can kick rocks. Don't go to the wedding and do something nice for yourself on her wedding day. Tell them the truth if the family asks you why you're not there. I just can't imagine blaming my sibling for being a fetus. I just can't. This is just inconceivable to me.
My husband is an only child because mother-in-law's pregnancy brought out previously dormant autoimmune diseases and she couldn't have more kids. She's been on disability for a long time now. His whole life, he was told by her and his entire family that he ruined his mom's body and he's why she couldn't have the big family she wanted. I would bet OP's parents have made some remarks, even if passed off as a joke, that created resentment with the siblings. Info: did your parents make your mom pregnant, or did you just decide to climb up there and hang out? I hope you understand that your mom's health issues aren't your fault, as it was her choice to get pregnant with you. Your sisters sound like they need some therapy to get their heads straight, and it might be best for you to remove yourself not only from the wedding party but from your sister's everyday life for your own benefit, because it can't be good for your own mental health to be around this. OP, if you went, your sisters don't think people are going to ask questions about why you're the only one left out of the wedding party, especially with 12 bridesmaids. It seems like that would be more awkward to answer. But B. Why aren't you a bridesmaid? Oh, you'd have to ask the bride that with a sweet smile. And the same goes if someone asks you why you weren't there. My husband's best friend Nate got a new girlfriend, Camilla, about half a year ago. She moved to our city recently, so she doesn't really have any friends here, but she and I hung out a couple of times and started to get friendly. For context, we're all in our 20s. My husband and I both have nice jobs. We own a small flat, play tennis as a hobby. Camilla thinks it's a rich people's sport, and we regularly travel by finding €10 plane tickets and staying at cheap hostels for about 3 nights at a time. Now to the point. My husband and I were hosting a little get-together with Nate, Camilla, and a few of our other friends. At one point, the conversation went to topics like the current level of inflation, how the lockdown affected people and jobs, the housing market, etc. And I had something to say too. Camilla cut me off and said something like, "Haha, no offense, but you're way too much of a spoiled privileged girl to understand things like this. You would need a tragedy or two in your life to understand the struggle. I love you, but you never experienced any hardship in your life." The room went dead silent and nobody said anything. Then after some awkward silence, I stood up and said, "Well, is anybody hungry? Shall we eat?" And we never went back to that topic. Camilla messaged me the next day asking me how I could do this to her. Nate told her afterward that I had an abusive father and I fell ill as a teenager, spent months in the hospital, had multiple life-saving surgeries, and it took me a month to learn to walk again.
Camilla is mad at me for not telling these very personal things to her before and for making her look terrible to Nate's friends. She said that even correcting her at the party would have been better because then she could have apologized to me in front of everyone, but I took that chance away from her and now she will never make friends here. Honestly, this whole thing is ridiculous. I don't really think I'm an idiot, but it never hurts to ask. Maybe I should have gently corrected her after she said that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Camilla wants a performative friendship. She was trying to meet new people and committed a major faux pas by making herself seem worldly by calling you out in your own home, and it backfired on her spectacularly. Be cordial, be polite, but move on. Furthermore, she didn't call to apologize. She called to put the blame on OP's shoulders. Nowhere is there any etiquette rule saying people are allowed to criticize you. If you haven't suffered enough, you're not obligated to share everything about yourself with someone to protect them from the embarrassment of unfairly publicly insulting you. You handled that perfectly. Oh, my poor Camilla. Well, not that I have sympathy, but she started to cuss you out because she had assumptions and it backfired right into her face. You correcting her on the spot would be fruitless. She would have just demanded that such information should have been given to her much earlier. From her attitude, Camilla could have avoided all of that by just keeping quiet. She didn't need to weigh in an ignorant opinion like that, and it certainly wouldn't help her make friends. Even if it was true, what she said was rude and uncalled for. This is on her. Anyone who suffered the way Camilla thinks they need to doesn't treat it like a contest. That attitude of "you haven't suffered enough" makes me wonder what tragedy she's suffered, and if not my boyfriend broke up with me right before Valentine's Day. My daughter is at that stage where kids pretend they're grown-ups with jobs. The jobs differ depending on who she meets or sees on the TV. In the last few months, she wanted to be a teacher, babysitter, truck driver, president, garbage collector, photographer, knee doctor after I injured it, scientist, witch, and football steward. Last month I was watching a football match with her, and she asked me why the people in yellow were not watching the game. When I explained that they were there to ensure that no one went to the pitch, she told me that's what she wants to do when she grows up because they get paid to do nothing, lol. I try to play along with every job she wants to do and buy the required tools. If I can afford it, for the steward job, I got her a little vest and made her an official badge. She would stand in silence watching me and demand I pay her. After a few minutes, last Saturday, an old friend of mine visited us. My daughter asked her about her job. My friend replied that she was a housewife, so for the whole afternoon, my daughter kept interrogating her. After my friend left, all my daughter wanted to do since then was to be a housewife. She already has 3 kids that she helps with homework and teaches manners, and each one of them has a food allergy. Yesterday we came back from the grocery store when we met some neighbors. They started talking with her when she told them she'd just come back from the grocery store to make dinner for her husband and children. They gave me some weird looks and said goodbye. A few hours later, they knocked on my door. They wanted to have a private discussion with me. After I explained what was happening, they gave me a 1-hour lecture about how stupid and ignorant I was, and I should stop encouraging this because I was damaging my daughter. They told me we aren't in the 60s anymore and young girls shouldn't dream about being homemakers anymore, and demanded I stop brainwashing my daughter because her subconscious will start settling for being a housewife instead of dreaming about bigger things. I haven't been able to sleep since then. I had my daughter when I was 19 and now I'm 24, and her mom wants nothing to do with her. Every day has been a struggle, and most of the time I don't even know if what I'm doing is right, so the thought of unintentionally hurting my daughter fills me with guilt. Am I the idiot? I don't really get the sense of you encouraging her to be a housewife so much as you encouraging her. This week it's a housewife, next week could be an astronaut. It doesn't matter. You're not dictating to her, you're just letting her express interest and encouraging it. And hey, she's little. She'll change her mind about what she wants to be when she grows up a million times before she's 18, and then quite possibly end up doing something she'd never thought of anyway, because life's like that. You're a fabulous dad, not the idiot. Anyone trying to tell you otherwise is. I'm a child-free gothy tattoo artist. I've always hated anything feminine and strive to be as unladylike as physically possible. However, my very best friend is a blonde bombshell, fashionista stay-at-home mom, the exact caricature of the 60s lady that your neighbors warned against. And do you know what we both have in common? What I'm trying to say is that there's no set definition of womanhood, and there shouldn't be. Happiness is the key to true empowerment, and we should be elevating all of our sisters, no matter the differences in lifestyles. So not the idiot. Keep loving and supporting your daughter through all of her phases, and make sure to hype up her decision when and if she finally settles on one. Everyone's the idiot here. Your neighbors are super creepy for knocking on your doors to tell you they don't like what your kids said, but I'm struggling with the idea that you stood there and let some neighbors lecture you for an hour on how you raise your child. I can't imagine such a conversation going on more than 2 or 3 minutes tops. Stop being so insecure about your role as a parent. My sister set me up with her friend a few weeks ago. When we first went out, we agreed to take turns paying. Yesterday, I picked her up from her house and took her to a restaurant for dinner. After we finished eating, she asked the waitress to refill her glass of water. The place was packed, and the waitress passed by our table multiple times. Instead of a friendly reminder, she told her if she's mentally declining, she should be in a retirement home instead of leaving people thirsty. The poor woman looked like she was about to cry. She started apologizing to my date and went to get the water. I was shocked, embarrassed, and angry at the same time. I asked her why she would even think about that sentence, let alone say it out loud. Then I excused myself and went to apologize to the waitress. I paid for the food, tipped her big time, and left. This morning my sister called me angrily, saying how much of an idiot I was for what I did to her friend. Apparently, after I left, the manager threatened to call the cops if she didn't pay. She had to call her father to send the money for the dinner and the ride back home. I explained to my sister what her friend did, but she wasn't interested in taking my side. She told me, since I picked her up from her place, and since it was my turn to pay for the date, I should have done so and driven her back home or given her money for a taxi. I wasn't interested in arguing with her, so I said I'll send the money to give to her friend and told her God to have mercy on both their future boyfriends. She said that if they were an idiot like me, she wouldn't even touch them with a 10-foot pole, and hung up. So am I the idiot for leaving without paying for my date's food, even though it was my turn? Not the idiot. Your sister sucks. That date sucked. I'm glad you stuck up for the waitress because few people do. You aren't obligated to spend your money on anybody, and she was stupid to go out with somebody. She's never met without any money. She needed to learn that lesson. Big time. I'd be glad she showed her true colors immediately, so you didn't waste anything longer than a meal with her. I wouldn't send the money for the date either. She brought it on herself by being a total idiot. So everyone seems to believe that it's okay to be an idiot to an idiot. She was rude to a waitress, so it's okay to welsh on your agreement to pay for a date and walk out, leaving the idiot date without transportation or apparently any ability to pay for the food. The food that you'd agreed to pay for previously. And without any ability to pay for the transportation to get home. But that's okay because she was an idiot first. Everyone's the idiot here. Yep, the date was rude and there's no arguing that. I can kind of understand. Not paying for her meal but leaving her stranded is awful. There's no need for that level of response. Opie's behavior was over the top. In my opinion, I would have paid if the date didn't have money and I agreed to ahead of time, given them a ride home and let them know their behavior disgusted me and I won't be seeing them again. There's this woman I babysit for who lives down the street from me. Due to our schedules, I babysit for her Mondays and Wednesdays. The other babysitter, who I'm friends with, babysits on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, so sticking to the schedule. It was Wednesday, and I was very stressed out and not in the best headspace. The kids were playing outside, and I was inside where I could still see them, doing homework and studying. For some reason, I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling dizzy and my stomach was acting up. I threw up multiple times, and I could barely stand up. I called the woman and asked if she could come home because something was wrong and I needed to leave. She told me to try and hold on until the end of the day. After, like 15 minutes, I texted her, telling her I needed to leave. I called the other babysitter and asked if she was free and if she could come over because I wasn't feeling good and she agreed. I could barely make it outside the house. My brother came to pick me up. I fell asleep as soon as I got home. I woke up to missed calls and texts from the lady asking why I had left. I called her back and told her that I couldn't stay because I wasn't feeling good. She said I didn't sound sick and I could have held off until the end of the day. I said it didn't sound like much to her, but I could barely make it to the car. I told her if she's going to treat me like this, then I don't want to babysit for her again and hung up on her. The other babysitter's schedule is often filled on the days she doesn't babysit, so she couldn't take those days that I babysat. I got lucky she came. She told me that she really needed someone to babysit on my days and she couldn't afford to lose me. I told her I needed time to think about it. I feel pretty bad, but I don't want her to make me work if I clearly wasn't able to do it. Am I the idiot here? This has also happened once before with a personal emergency. She wouldn't let me leave, but that time I stayed. Not the idiot. Sorry, but who does this woman think she is? She said I didn't sound sick and I could have held off until the end of the day. You effing threw up several times before you even called her. Besides, what has this to do with anything? Is it now a requirement to sound like someone who's 3/4 dead to feel sick? Oh boy. If yes, I'm in so much trouble because I often sound quite normal when I call in sick at work. Gosh, I would really think hard about whether I would continue to work for her. But my gut feeling tells me to look for greener pastures. If I was so irreplaceable, she should have treated me like a human being. She's super entitled to think you owe her anything. You had a medical emergency at work. I'm going to turn this one over to you. What do you make of this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time mean the world to me. So, thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.